Quintin was a member of the Charleston County School Board for many years. Now she wants to be a member of Charleston County Council to represent District 7. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with her one-on-one. First of all, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Quintin.
I really appreciate this, Ruth.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Anytime. You know, there's so much going on. Describe to me the following in one word: the West Ashley Circle.
The West Ashley Circle, some people are saying that it is a circle to nowhere. But West Ashley is growing, and we have to begin to start thinking forward of what we need to do to control traffic and growth. One of the things that I talked about in my campaign is smart growth. And being a realtor with Carolina One for over 24 years, we have to start thinking forwardly in terms of this traffic problem that we're having. We have several projects that are coming on that side of West Ashley. And so the West Ashley Circle will begin to start thinking about how we can control that traffic and eliminate gridlock.
The LeGree Bridge bike lane test.
Now, that is pretty interesting. Now, the test in itself, I understand that people are saying that it is successful and they're looking forward to doing it. But then, more importantly, where are we going to be in another 5-10 years? And so I think it's a short-term fix, but it may not necessarily be a long-term fix.
The 526 expansion to Johns Island.
Yes, I support the expansion simply because it is more than just about traffic. It's also about safety. I like to say that we live on islands, and this is the West Islands. The West Islands includes Johns Island, West Ashley, and James Island, and I call it the West Islands. And we have to have ways to get people on and off the islands. They are surrounded by water on all four sides, and so we have to make sure that people can get on and off where they live safely in the event of storms, in the events of hurricanes. We have to ensure that people can also get to and from work, to and from emergency situations, as well as health.
Yes, indeed. Mother Emanuel 1 year later.
1 year later. You know, it is just like it happened yesterday. With everything that's happening over in Orlando, now we had the shooting in Dallas. It all brings back the same situation, that we have a major problem in this country, unfortunately. But guess what? I like what the tagline was: Charleston Strong. We will survive.
Yes, indeed.
You know, in spite of, we are better and greater for having experienced it. And I know that families are still hurting, and the church is hurting, but more importantly, the city is hurt. But even out of tragedy, good things have come about. With the taking down of the flag, with people standing up and saying that we will not let this tragedy take this community down.
Yeah, and I know that you used to be on Charleston County School Board.
Yes, I was there for 4 years.
And I just really want to get your take on the budget shortfall, because that's a mess down there.
You know what? When I heard about this budget shortfall, I wondered who was watching the hen house. Was it the Fox, or who was watching? And so one of the things we talk about, these budget shortfalls, when I was on the Charleston County School Board, we did our work in that we understood what our roles are and were. We understood that we were policymakers, we were responsible for the budget, and so we kept our eyes on the ball. But too often we have representatives who are being micromanagers rather than being global thinkers and global viewers, and being able to ask the right kinds of questions, and making sure that there were monies, what we call in the rainy day fund. And so I don't know whatever happened to that concept, that we had to ensure that we always had X numbers of millions of dollars in the rainy day fund to cover any shortfalls. And so I'm not sure what happened there, but I do believe with our new superintendent that they will fix this.
Let's go back to election day, because I want to talk to you about the 617-321. You actually beat Patrick Bell's 617-321. And I'm wondering, what did that tell you, Ruth?
What that told me is this. I ran a race in 6 weeks.
Wow.
I got in the race. It has always been something I wanted to do. I started to run in 2012. And for whatever reason, I didn't do it in 2012. So I made my mind that I was going to do it in 2016. I was thrust into a CEO's position temporarily for 10 months at FEDER. I left FEDER on April 25th. I started running my campaign from April 25th to June 14th.
Wow.
And so that tells me that, one, I'm a proven leader. My experience shall speak for me. I tell people all the time, I've always believed in doing what's right for all people. When I was on the school board, my theme was a bright start for every child. And so that's what I firmly believe, that if we live here, and I make people laugh because sometimes people don't understand, we've been here. I grew up here. I'm not a come here, but I'm a been here. That we've been here. My kids live here. My family live here. And that we have to ensure that in this community, our area be the best.
Yes.
And so I believe my experience in the past, being frank, speaking truth to power, and I'm not bought. You know, I'm just an individual who just believes in service.
Okay.
You know, and I believe what Dr. King says, that you can determine a man's character where he stands in the midst of controversy, not where he stands when it's beautiful and comfortable. See, you got to be able to tell people yes when you're supposed to tell them yes, and tell them no when you're supposed to tell them no.
And from what I understand, this is so interesting but magnificent. But you were in Bible study when you got the election results.
Yes.
Talk to me about where you were emotionally.
Well, emotionally, where I was, I was at peace. I prayed about it.
Yes.
On that weekend, for some reason, Quintin, I couldn't go out and do anything. People are like, "Are you going to go out and campaign the Sunday before the election?" And I says, "No, I've done all I needed to do." And so I was at peace. And so that morning, Tuesday morning, I got up, went and voted, took my parents to go vote.
Okay.
And I came back home. I was back in my house by 11 o'clock.
Wow.
And so that was the end of it.
Wow.
Went on to what I normally do every Tuesday.
Yes.
I go to Bible study.
Yes.
And so when Channel 5, Alexa Smith texts me and said, "Ms. Jordan, I believe you're going to win." And I was like, "Really?" And so then Patrick Bell,
right.
I thank him, he called me and he said, "Ms. Jordan, you beat me unanimously."
Wow.
So I went back in, we were doing a benediction, and I told the pastor, "I need to make an announcement." I said, "I just was told that I won this election, 66% of the votes."
That's huge, because from what I understand, a lot of people didn't go out and vote that day. Maybe because of the weather, or I don't know.
Well, one of the reasons why is that in this particular county council seat, District 7, on the Democratic side, we did not have a lot of candidates that were running for other offices like Senate,
Right.
House seats. Those were more so on the Republican side.
Okay.
And so when I went to go vote, there were only two candidates to select. Patrick Bell and Ruth Jordan.
That's
So
right.
I just thought that, you know what, I better vote for myself,
Yes.
Ruth Jordan.
And let's stay in West Ashley, because you talked about the Senate. Let's talk about Columbia. As you know, Marlon Kimpton has been reelected as state senator for District 42. He beat out Robert Ford.
Yes, he did.
When you look back after that to right now, what is the biggest thing that sticks out in your mind, Ruth?
Well, you know what? In 1999 through 2002, I was the state voter empowerment director for the national NAACP.
Okay.
And what my goal was to help get people elected, to increase voter registration among minorities in the state. We registered over 50,000 people in a 2-year period. And so one of the things that we talked about was making sure that we had good qualified candidates.
Okay.
It was a three-pronged approach: education, voter registration, and then turning out the votes. And so Marlon has proven that he is an effective leader. And we need to develop young, professional, effective leaders, people who will represent Charleston County well. And I do believe that it is now time that we do elect young leaders to go to the State House.
And let's go back to you being blunt, because you said this too, quote, "Too long we have been sitting on the sideline, and it's now time for new leadership in November 2016. I'm curious, what will you do on day one if elected to county council?
Well, one of the first things I serve on many boards,
Right.
being elected and unelected, serve on university boards, medical boards.
Right.
And so one of the things you have to understand is day one, you need to go in, keep your mouth shut, listen. Because I will tell you, like Barack Obama says, until you sit behind that desk, you really don't know what you're going to face. And so from day one, what I would do is that I would go in and then begin to learn the landscape of how county council really work. and looking at the real issues, and then begin to provide my input, working along with the existing county council members, because you can't do anything by yourself. It's about building consensus. And so I am a consensus builder. So from day one, I'm going in to talk about what can I do to help improve our county, and working along with all the other council members, but making sure that, guess what, we speak up truth. Charleston County, particularly District 7, has been left behind for so very long. We need a voice, and I believe I'm that voice.
And speaking of which, we know that you are very outspoken. You have served on many boards. You served on the Charleston County School Board. You obviously are a real estate agent. But when you take off that professional hat, who is Ruth Jordan?
Oh, Ruth Jordan is a mother, a wife.
Yes.
I am a minister. I'm a PK. I'm a pastor's kid.
Okay.
I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters. Wow. And so I'm just Ruth Jordan,
wow.
Down to earth. Yes, I'm a sorority member.
Oh, that's great.
I'm a civil rights leader.
Okay.
And so and more importantly, I'm just me. I'm just me.
I love that. I love that. Well, Ruth Jordan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Well, thank you very much, Quintin, for having me.
Anytime.
And I look forward to seeing you again.
Yes.
In November.
That's right.
I know the election's going to be sort of uphill battle, but guess what? I believe that we and District 7 is going to speak, and we're going to speak loudly, because with the help of the voters here in West Ashley and the general election, a new voice, a proven voice, one who will not be afraid to make sure that we do what's right for the entire county, not just right for developers, not just right for some parts of the county, but all of the county.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that.
Well, thank you, Quintin.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
Thank you.